Ciao! When I visited my family in Sicily a couple of weeks ago, Mariella, my sister, made a lovely Parmigiana which we ate cold. I generally eat mine warm or hot, and I was so impressed that she gave me the recipe, so I'm making it tonight. As we will be eating this mostly cold, I'm making a fairly large batch. So I'm actually cutting 4 aubergines and I'm making each slice approximately half a centimetre each using a bread knife. Remember to move the little head on the top and gently apply some pressure and just score it with a bread knife. Very easy. Next step is the eggs. I will be using 1 egg per aubergine, so 4 eggs. Add a pinch of salt and some pepper. And Mariella also recommended a coffee cup of water, which I'm going to be adding now. Espresso size, by the way, this is the size I've used. Do not put a big old mug of water and then you blame me in your eggs. And blend it all together very quickly using a fork. Next I'll be getting the aubergines ready for frying and I will be dipping them in the egg. I've got some plain flour here, just plain flour, any flour will be fine. And I will be coating them with some flour and I'll put them on one side ready for frying. So advisable to get all of your aubergines ready at once and then you can fry them all together, otherwise you might make a mess. According to my sister, this is a healthier way of frying aubergines as the flour will act as a shield and they will not absorb as much oil. It will be interesting to see what they look like at the end. And here they are, they're ready for frying. Admittedly there is a lot there, but I'm making a fairly large batch. You can do it with 1 aubergine, 2 aubergines, 3 aubergines or more, entirely up to you depending on how many people you're feeding, but that will be fine. So pour a generous amount of vegetable oil, this is sunflower oil, in a frying pan. Once the oil is nice and hot, I'll start adding my aubergines. I'm keeping the temperature on a fairly high setting, and as they've been cut fairly thin, they're only half a centimetre thick, they will not take very long to cook, maybe a couple of minutes, so I'm now turning them around after literally 2 minutes. 2 more minutes and they're ready to come out. If you look, they've got a nice golden crust, also they're quite crispy. So I'm gonna be putting them on a plate which I've lined with some kitchen paper so that some of the oil will be absorbed. And I've now started with the next batch. Times I will be adding a little bit more oil depending how much gets absorbed, but I will keep the temperature on a high heat and I'll stay on top of them. As I've gone up in layers, I've been adding more kitchen paper so that most of the oil gets absorbed, and I have to say they look really nice. That's the last 4. And I'm now ready for the next step, but a couple of observations. I'm dead impressed actually because they cooked considerably quicker than I thought they would, and maybe it's because sunflower oil can reach a higher temperature than olive oil and they cooked quicker, but you need to stay on top of them. The second thing is that actually they didn't need as much oil as I thought, so maybe there is some merit about the flour and acting as a shield. I'm gonna try one first though. I'm dead keen to see what they're like. They're really nice. They could do a little bit more salt, but we're going to be putting together the Parmigiana next, so useful to test them. I'll be using some passata tomato, and this is 1 litre, and talking of salt, I'm going to be adding the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm putting in now some fresh basil. Chop it with your hands, that'll be fine. And the instructions from my sister is that there is no need to cook the tomato as it will be cooking in the oven when it goes in with the aubergines. Great! To make a Parmigiana, beside the aubergines, you're going to be needing some Parmigiano, hence Parmigiana, Parmigiano cheese, and some mozzarella. So this is actually a very basic dish, very simple to make as well, and very simple ingredients. And as I am making a large batch, I've decided to use a baking tin. I noticed that when my sister cooked hers, it was nice and set, and I'm gonna be eating mine cold anyway, so it'll be quite good to look at if it's nice and round. So I've placed a layer of aubergines at the very bottom first, and I'll pour in some of my tomato, not a lot, because just like when you make a lasagna, you do not put a lot at the bottom as it will sift through as you go up in layers. Sprinkle some Parmesan cheese and a little topping of mozzarella. And off I go with my next layer. You do not have to use a baking tin like I am, of course. You can use a traditional oven dish, But if you do choose to use a baking tin and do what I'm doing, make sure that you press it down firmly and you push it towards the edges, because I will want to see the nice round shape at the end. And continue with your tomato sauce, just like if you're making a lasagna. As you go up in layers, increase the quantity you put in. And I've just reached the final layer. I've managed to do 4 layers altogether, which is pretty good actually. I got a little bit more sauce than what I need. I'm not going to put it all in, as I want this to set rather than want it to be too liquidy. So I'll use this for something else. And one last generous amount of Parmesan, as this will be the very top layer. Followed by the last of my mozzarella. And it's ready to go in the oven. It'll go in for 20 minutes, but at a higher temperature. There is quite a lot there, but everything needs to cook and the sauce has not been cooked either. So it'll be 20 minutes, 250 degrees. But before I do that, I wanted to show you, this is the paper which was used to in between the layers of aubergines, and actually is quite soaked in oil. So actually I've absorbed a lot of the oil, so it works. Little tip, definitely worthwhile doing. And here it is, just out of the oven exactly after 20 minutes. And it's looking very nice, and I'm going to leave it now for 30 minutes at the very least. It's piping hot. I want it to cool down, and also I want to remove the outer part of the case to see if it holds. I've also put a tin underneath just in case there was any leakage, as this is a cake tin, but I'm pleased to say that it was minimal, so worthwhile doing, but it's pretty good. See you in 30 minutes. After half an hour I checked, and it was still a bit warm, so I chickened out. Decided to leave it for a good hour because I want to make sure that it stays set, and it's okay now. It's nice and cool, and like with the lasagna, I'm gonna go around with a little spatula and make sure that it's all nice and loose, and it's working very well. Also, because that's cooled down, it shrinks slightly, so it makes it easier. That's perfect. By the way, I've been calling this a Parmigiana, and it's not too dissimilar to a Parmigiana, but actually the real name is a sformato, which is a bit more like a flan or a timballo. So the name is not necessarily Parmigiana, but you get the gist. It's a bit like a flan, really. So let's undo the clip and very gently move it up.
Ooh, look at that.
And I have to say, it is nice and firm and it's easy to cut. And just like a cake, I'm gonna be lifting a portion. Oh my God, look at that.
That baby. Mm. It does smell just like a Parmigiana.
Yeah. That's really nice, really delicious. Still a little bit warm, but I'll put mine in the fridge, and the most probably will last a good 2 to 3 days. My suggestion is that if you want to eat it cold, definitely put it in the fridge, but it's the sort of thing that you can take to the office and make all of your colleagues jealous, or picnic, because once it's set it will be even less liquidy than that. Although it's not liquidy, it's quite firm, but you will be able to just eat it.
Solidify up a bit.
Solidify a little bit more. You can take it to the beach if you want, or picnic. Ideal for that sort of stuff. But of course, you can also eat it hot. I just wanted to have it in the shape of a cake. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you make it. If you do, let me know how you get on. Bye bye. See you later. Ciao.